Hey, you wonderful people. Welcome to PCP, the Pixel Clicks Podcast's late edition. I'm Jordan Pollock, and today's shirt is brought to you by tfairy.com, who we are not sponsored by. Podcast listeners, remember to follow us at the Pixel Clicks Pod on Twitter to see this week's shirt in picture form. Anyway, as always, I am not alone. The director and improv comedian Sergio Lopez is here.
When I sell out, I want you all to buy the product that I sell.
Of course. The ambassador for the PC Master Race, Cody Franklin, is here.
Just like to say, in one way, we are late because it is on a Monday, but in another way, we're early because it is like 9:30 at night instead of midnight. So, that's pretty good. People might actually see us this time.
And he who loves blood and witchers and stuff, Shane Carpenter is here.
Hey everybody!
Don't you mean
That
Abraham Lincoln?
introduction was mediocre. That's a phrase from one of my favorite movies right now.
It's also a T.I. song. So, it's been
6 days and you look at me.
that's a Bare Naked Ladies song.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was trying to talk
Now
about.
we're getting sued, guys. Thanks.
Those are two perfect
No,
songs.
Sergio again! Oh.
It
We
was
can't
not
put that
15
on
seconds.
YouTube anymore because we're gonna get a copyright.
Okay, first of all, there are two things. One of them is that you can do that as long as it's considered a parody or something like that. Second of all, it has to be longer than 15 seconds. Then it gets pulled.
But the problem, Sergio, is that you do it so perfectly that the YouTube algorithm cannot tell the
They're just
difference.
like, I can't tell the difference between a Mexican man and bare naked lady.
I mean, that Mexican man sounds just like BNL. I can't tell the difference.
They need to stop playing Smash Mouth at the beginning of each podcast. But, oh, wait, that's a Mexican man. Never mind.
Once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in
At
the
my elementary
shed.
school,
Oh,
where I
man.
went to,
Well, I
everybody,
wonder
like, once a week, we all had to, like, a class had to sing a song, and we
Yeah.
sung Smash Mouth All-Star.
Nice. The one hit by Smash Mouth. The one smash hit by Smash
That
Mouth.
Shrek song!
Yeah.
What was the Shrek song? Not Accidentally in Love, that's Counting Crows.
Shrek did the. Oh no, you don't know and you don't know what you're going to. Let's go. Put up a parking lot. You know that original one?
Yes.
Yeah, they did a remake of that one. And I was just like, what? Counting crows, you counting stoat? Wait, no.
Put up a park in his
But I
swamp.
thought somebody once told me what was gonna roll me isn't Shrek.
You know, Chris Farley was going to play Shrek once.
That would have been perfect.
And then
That
he
would have been
died.
perfect.
That would have been good.
He looks like Shrek.
He would have
Well,
lived in a hut down
would
by the
have.
swamp.
Well, so
It's been an uneventful week, mostly because we've all been playing The Witcher, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, I have, ready for it, a need to talk about Need for Speed.
You got a fever, and the only prescription is
Good,
speed.
good effort. Good effort.
So a Need for Speed reboot has been announced. It's going to be on the CryEngine. And it from the reveal trailer, it looks like it's going to take a lot
it's gonna be on
of
Frostbite.
Frostbite. Yes, Frostbite. That's what it was. I was thinking. I don't know why I was thinking CryEngine.
GG, Jordan.
Because the idea of a new Need for Speed makes me want to cry a little bit because I loved Need for Speed Underground, and this game is taking a lot of cues from Need for Speed Underground.
Yep.
So I'm happy about that. I love playing Need for Speed Underground because it reminded me of the Fast and Furious franchise. I'm like, oh, I have to be like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and soup up my car and be all cool. I'm like ludicrous. Anyway, I'm interested to see how this Need for Speed reboot goes. Which
Yeah.
what's up, Sergio?
I was about to say, you know what game I want back is what's that? What's the one with the crashes? Burnout.
Burnout.
Yep.
Burnout was good.
I want like Burnout 3 or Vengeance to something like that. Kind
Yeah.
of. I think
Sad because
specifically
Burnout Paradise City is like the pinnacle of that series, and then nothing.
And then just Hot Pursuit. what's it called? Yeah, so Need for Speed. It's kind of funny that Need for Speed's getting a reboot because it's a racing game.
Mhm.
I don't quite understand how that works. Um,
It's kind of like how Fast and Furious got a reboot after
Yeah.
each movie. It's basically a reboot after that, with the exception of 4, 5, and 6, and
Yeah.
7.
4
Five,
was
6,
basically
and
the
7.
reboot, and then 5, 6, and 7 are the continuations. Oh, also 8. Um,
Yeah.
Hey,
but anyway, Need for Speed reboot. It's happening. Don't know when. Don't know how, but it is.
Too
Yeah.
good for you.
It's
Yeah.
it's like one of the two racing games that pique my interest. The other is Mario Kart. So,
it's almost like it was its destiny to get a reboot.
I'm glad that you brought up Destiny, Shane, because House of Wolves came out for Destiny.
And how's that,
How's that?
Shane?
Huh?
House of Wolves, the second DLC for Destiny, has come out, and it's practically a game changer. It's changed a lot of systems that needed changing in Destiny. Although I haven't had a chance to play it, but Shane, you've had a chance. What do you think of House of Wolves?
I have enjoyed it thus far, the little bit that I was able to play.
Yeah.
I think the new story quests are actually pretty exciting.
Is
Wait,
there
there's
actually a
story?
story?
Not terrible. There's a story now. And it's actually got a little bit of humor to it.
Did
like
you guys?
all Bungie games.
Did you guys hear about what the story was supposed to be about Destiny?
No. What was it going to be about?
All right, so here's a theory that's been out there, and then it's also been subsequently supported by the people that were writing the story, and then it got all mishmash, and they're like, forget, we don't need no story. But apparently, the Traveler guy is like the bad guy and
Yeah,
resurrecting
I read
a
about that.
monster
yes.
zombie army.
So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
basically the bad guys.
Mhm.
They
How did we know though? I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, we were just resurrected for some reason by Peter Dinklage. I mean, Dinklebot, and I mean Ghost, and not Jon Snow's direwolf, but I don't know where I'm going with this, guys. Anyway, Destiny doesn't have a lot of story. I'm glad that House of Wolves, direwolves, full circle, has story elements to it.
It adds a new social hub, which is pretty cool. It's in the reef. Because guess what? You can actually go to the reef now, because it's not just a stupid fucking area that's up the top. That's just
A random cinematic.
cinematics. Alright, now leave. Okay.
So dumb. That was so dumb.
So, and I might be saying it as being biased that I am enjoying it now only because I finally got an exotic item and it boosted me to level 27. So I don't suck anymore.
I saw a video that it showed a guy that had a handgun. A handgun. Then he switched to a assault rifle. Is that a thing that happens now?
There's a sidearm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually called the sidearm, and it's a new secondary weapon. So it basically looks like a pistol, but it's got a entirely different
Thing.
gun ability.
Upgrade tree.
Upgrade tree, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they added, which is pretty cool, is you can actually upgrade existing items to be the highest level of life. So you can go in there.
Take your guns with you.
Yeah.
That's good. So I could keep the devil you know,
Yes.
and continuously use that gun because that's my favorite gun. It's a hand cannon. But that's good. Like I know my brother has been playing it, and he said, yeah, like they fixed a lot of things that he's talking to me. He's like, yeah, they fixed a lot of things that you didn't like about it. So he said you should probably come back in and give it a try. Give it a shot.
Yep.
So I reinstalled the game. So I'm gonna try to spend some time in Destiny once more. It's exciting.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. So
Okay.
since we're on
Finally put it
the
on PC one day.
right, one
day.
glorious day when Destiny 2 comes out, they'll probably work.
Probably. Yeah.
They'll probably try to put it on PC because it would make so much sense.
Yeah.
But since we're on the topic of expansions, there has been a confirmation of an expansion for Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
So I know Shane and I are excited for this because
The
Bloodborne
Ultimatum.
Yeah, but Bloodborne is so far my game of the year so far.
Yeah.
So the expansion is called Blood Factory. That's not a true fact.
Oh, shush, Cody. Just because you can't play it doesn't mean you can hate it.
Sorry, it's Bloodborne Blood Dragon. Nope, that's Far Cry 3. It's
Bloodborne, blood pools in your blood.
yeah, it's Bloodborne Blood Goals. Nope, that's Halo.
Bloodborne bleeds again.
It's
Bloodborne
of bloodduction.
Bloodborne once a month.
Bloodborne Bloodsport: The Return of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Bloodborne a period of a week for once a month.
See,
Second-
that
it's a
would
second-
actually make sense in the story.
It's the second time I've said that period joke, and you guys just glaze over it. You know,
Bloodborne,
Bloodborne,
Bloody
and
Palace.
yes, blood afterbirth born.
You know, I Bloodborne Afterbirth makes the most sense.
It does actually, in terms of what's happening in the game.
Does really make the most sense. And along with the expansion was that they actually put out a patch yesterday, that added some pretty major changes to multiplayer. Password doesn't affect a lot of stuff anymore, so you can more easily join people's parties in multiplayer. And they added a bunch of stuff to Chalice dungeons, like they revamped what loot drops from bosses when you beat them. They revamped the difficulty of some bosses or some enemies in New Game Plus, and they did a whole bunch of other things. So, if you want to go back in and revisit Chalice dungeons, go ahead.
That sounds great. Because I only did a few levels in the Chalice dungeon because I was like, this game is great. And then Witcher came out, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I want to play Witcher.
Nope.
But guys, since we're on the topic, we should probably talk about The Witcher.
It's
It's a game that came out last week.
you know what game I think is better is Max 3. I played that shit instead. I was like, I'll play the better third one, and then I just
Everybody who's
replayed the.
listening to the podcast,
And then wait. Let me just finish. I replayed the original ending of Mass Effect 3, and I was like, this is better than Witcher 3, and just played that over and over again. And then I also played Epic Mickey 1 without using the second analog stick. I was like, this is better than Witcher 3. Also, I played Banjo-Kazooie without ever using Kazooie, and I was like, this is a better game than Witcher 3. Last one, I played BMXXX because there's 3 X's in there, and I was like, this is better than Witcher 3.
You know, instead of playing The Witcher 3, I decided to dig this out of storage, just so I could.
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I decided to start playing Ni no Kuni again.
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I started playing. Oh god, there's so many games down here.
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I stared at the wall until I figured out what my life decided for me to do.
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I started playing the Devil May Cry HD collection. Master Chief collection.
I went back to World of Warcraft.
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I just solved one side of this Rubik's Cube over and over again.
And instead of playing Witcher 3, I started playing Zone of the Enders HD collection.
Instead of Witcher 3, I just made my own collection of lint and my boxers.
And instead of playing Witcher 3, I played the other open world RPG, which can be found on your PC.
And instead of playing Witcher 3, I started watching Cowboy Bebop on Blu-ray.
So instead of watching Witcher 3, whatever, I'm done.
Cody's just
Instead of playing Witcher 3, I just watched Cody just waiting for us to stop talking.
In the most boring podcast ever, guys.
Let's be real. Let's talk about how great that game is, though.
Witcher. Sorry, it's Witcher Wild Hunt. There's not really a 3 attached to it anymore.
Yeah.
There is some places, and there is isn't a,
It's weird.
they don't even know.
Will we get into any spoilers for Quest? Should we say like spoilers for the remaining period of this podcast?
We should not spoil stuff
We
because
should-
game
we should
is
not
fucking
spoil it.
incredible.
Okay.
We should talk more about mechanics and the world rather than specific story things.
Yeah.
Maybe side quests. A few side quests.
Yeah.
I thought the mechanic was pretty good, except I found a cheaper one in Chula Vista. Was able to help me out.
So I'm really enjoying Witcher. I know I had to change how I approached the game because I was still in the Bloodborne mindset. So I was like, I gotta go in there and like mess things up and then run away. And then that's not really how you should approach combat in The Witcher all that much.
Yeah, since I'm playing my hard series with Dark Souls. That also imprinted into me when I was playing Witcher, which doesn't help.
The game is Dodge Simulator 2015, pretty much. Like the higher difficulties, especially, is pretty much like you just dodge all the time, constantly. Just dodge.
Yeah, I'm playing it on Blood and Broken Bones, which is the hardest difficulty next to the hardest difficulty.
I don't want to do that. Well, shit. Now that I say that, probably gonna have to do it on the hardest difficulty for Get Hard.
See, I didn't want to do it on the hardest difficulty on my first playthrough because if that game is 200 hours long, I want to at least enjoy that 2 hours.
Yeah, I want to enjoy some of it. That's why I'm playing it regular.
Because
I'm just playing it on regular.
Yeah, like when I played The Witcher 1, the first Witcher game, I made the mistake of playing it on hard, and where it says, you need alchemy to survive. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Let's play this game. I couldn't get anywhere.
I will say that like the combat and stuff in 3 is a lot better, and that
I agree.
Especially on the controls and whatnot are a lot better, and so it's easier to do those higher difficulties. The combat was kind of screwy in the last 2 games. And so you had to be a real masochist to play on the higher difficulties because it was just kind of a mess. It's a lot better now. So
like when I try to
being a new person, I thought the combat was pretty silky smooth. It was impressive. I did play a little bit of the first one. I lied, and I thought it's so far different.
It's way different. It's like night and day.
Oh man,
I
really enjoy this.
Pieces of 1 and 2. I've never actually beaten any of them, so 3 is my first. I'm actually playing it all the way through. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, same here. Like Witcher 3 is really making me want to go back and play the first 2 games, but I need a thing that can play them well.
Yeah.
Too bad you're not like me and Cody. We got powerful machines of God stuff. Yeah. And we are able to see it in beautiful, better than Xbox One, PS4.
He went there. I didn't say it. He did.
You didn't say it. I did it.
He did. No, but I will say I'm glad that they did that kind of. The whole intro in the beginning is way better too than the intro of Witcher 2. If you guys remember Witcher 2, you literally start the game just getting thrown into combat. A fucking dragon attacks you. They're just get fucked, basically. A lot of people would just spend 10 hours just trying to get through the tutorial, at the beginning, because it was so hard. And
at
then
least it's not
exactly what happened to me. That is exactly what happened to me. At the start of the game, I was just like.
Witcher 2 was one of those games that it started out retardedly hard and then it got easier as it went, and made a lot of people give up on it because like Shane, you spent 10 hours just trying to get through the fucking prologue because the game was so hard. Now it's way better.
They ease you into it.
Yeah,
like
you get to, do a little backstory and stuff too. It's not just like here's a bunch of stuff. You didn't play the last game. You're so lost. You're just there's a dude attacking a castle. Now there's a fucking dragon. What is going on? Like Witcher 2, they just said, enjoy the game. You're gonna get fucked from the first go. You have no idea what's going on. Have fun.
Like I have a bunch of people asking me so how is the game how is it compared to say Bloodborne? And I will say it compares to Bloodborne in that before every fight, you have to be prepared. You have to know what you're fighting and how to fight the thing. Now,
Sauce?
where it differs,
Yeah. I don't pay attention to any of that. I just go in and just like start swinging until it's dead. Which is probably why the game's kind of hard for me.
Yeah, and that's where it differs from Bloodborne. In Bloodborne, you could just run in, hit a thing, run away, run back in, hit a thing, run away, and you could do that, rinse and repeat until the thing is dead. But in Witcher, if you try that, a lot of times it doesn't work out very well, or it takes a ridiculously long time, and the thing will just cut through you. So
I do have a one like minor complaint with that system is it's awesome that if you take the time to prepare, you have the right potions, you have the right oil on your sword, like it makes a world of difference. But the game is a little bit too random at giving you those recipes. I'm literally 58 plus hours in the game, and I still don't have some of the basic oils for like werewolves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I have like the tier 3 version and tier 2 version, but you can't craft any of those unless you have the basic. And nowhere I go, I've looted like every damn chest, I've gone to every merchant, it doesn't exist. I can't find those basic versions.
Like I got like cursed oil like way early in the game. I was like, what is this even for? And I didn't find out until like I'm still like way behind all of you guys, but I found out later in the game in like the second area. Oh, this is what it's for. But I like to make the comparison that approaching Witcher combat is kind of like Pokemon with no turns. Now, by that I mean, like in Pokemon, if you're gonna fight a grass-type Pokemon, you think, oh, let me put my fire Pokemon up first because it is strong against grass. And in a sense, that's what you do in Witcher. It's like, oh, I'm gonna fight a ghoul, so I should put Necrophage oil on my silver sword because that's what it's weak to. That's what's super effective against it, and that's how you win fights, really. Although one of my minor complaints about the combat is that there is like no stealth option.
Yeah. But I mean, it fits the character. I mean, Geralt's very much
he's a straight up fighter.
You just go in and you go balls on the wall. It's not a stealth game in any sense. This isn't Assassin's Creed.
You know who else? Yeah. You know who likes stealth? Hitler. That's why you don't do stealth.
Exactly.
That's why you don't do stealth in Witcher.
Exactly.
And no one's gonna believe. Yeah, no one's gonna believe you that I said that, right, Black Hitler? Or you know what I'm talking about? It's a community. Whatever. Yeah. Point is, I'm not much of a stealth person when it comes to games like that. I just go, even Skyrim, which I love and just have logged like dozens and dozens of hours into that game. I never went the stealth route just because I never had the patience for that.
Yeah. And then another thing is decisions are huge in Witcher.
Decisions made in The Witcher 3. Decisions made from the last two games, they didn't really do anything with.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even bother playing Witcher 2 before this game came out, because I was like, you know what? It's probably not going to matter. It's not like a Mass Effect deal where everything kind of changes.
Yeah. Which I was really upset about that.
Yeah, which I assume they did that just because this is the first time it's like multi-platform, so they're trying to get as many people into it as possible, and most people have not played a Witcher game. Like to me, the Witcher series always signified like the PC master race. Like that is an RPG for PC people.
They did put Witcher 2 out on the consoles, but it was
on 360.
It was post-release. This is the first one they've all come out at the same time.
Post-release is nowhere near as hyped up as
definitely
3 was.
Oh, definitely.
3 hit the hype meter for sure.
Yeah, Witcher 2 on the Xbox 360 is more like, hey, do you guys like RPGs? Like, oh yeah, I like RPGs. Oh, why don't you try The Witcher? Oh, what's that? Think of Skyrim, but in third person, and yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. And that's like a very small minority of people who actually did do that.
Yeah. Like you said, though, like your choices in this game make massive differences in the world. I mean, some very big differences. That first quest line, the Bloody Baron quest, can go very differently. You get really, it's a good world in the sense that it's not, as much as the whole grim dark trope is a little overdone. I feel like they do it very well in Witcher because, in almost every other game, you can always find a way to get to the good choice, the good ending.
Yeah.
Whereas Witcher is pretty much like, it's 50 Shades of Grey. Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be able to be the hero that saves the day and everybody's great and fine.
Yeah.
Pretty much every choice has major consequences one way or another. There's options that are a little less effed up than others, but they're all pretty effed up.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is sometimes you don't even know that this bad stuff is coming, and you're just like, what?
Oh yeah.
Not really getting into spoilers, but there's a quest where I was helping out this ghost lady, and then I was like, hey, she's like, hey, get my bones, he buried it. And I was like, all right, and then so I gave the bones to her ex-lover because she's dead. You can't have a current lover when you're dead, unless you do, and then it's weird.
That's where ghost sex comes in.
Mm-hmm. I've seen Ghostbusters. But ectoplasm all over me. Ugh. But anyway, so you give the bones to the lover. He's like, thanks, I'm gonna bury him because I love her. And then you find out and then the ghost kills the lover. And he's like, I hate you. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah. There was a random encounter one that I saw too where there was a guy and he was like tied up and surrounded by a bunch of drowners, and you kill the drowners. And he's like, hey, thanks, can you let me go? Like, and you ask him, like, what the hell? Why are you all tied up, left here out to die? And he gives you the story that basically he was a deserter from, I believe, the Nilfgaardian army, the bad guys of the game.
Oh yeah, I remember that class.
And he says that like he was basically deserting, or no, he was deserting from the Temerian army. And he ran into some villagers who were very loyal to Temeria still, so they kind of left him there to die because he was a dishonorable deserter. And so you can decide to let him, leave him there to die, or set him go. Well, I of course figure, well, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm not gonna let this guy die, So I let him go, and then you run into him later, and he's the head of a whole group of bandits, and he's surrounded like by dead villagers he's killed. He's like, oh, thanks for letting me go. I really appreciate it. Oh, fuck. I screwed that one up. And that's like a minor thing compared to some of the stuff you can F up in the game.
And I'm so happy that Witcher's the kind of game where things like that happen, where it doesn't tell you what the consequence is, but you figure what the consequence is a lot later.
Yeah.
Like I did this quest where this dude's wife just goes missing. He's like, I don't know where to go. So I'm like, I'll help you out. Then I go and I start finding evidence about her. And then her sister comes and is like, hey, can you just stop looking for her?
Off? That's the quest I've been telling you about before this podcast.
And then so for me, I had to stop for a second. I had to think, what is more true to the character, and what do I actually want to do? Mm-hmm. There's a choice of, it's fine. I'll just stop. She's most likely dead. You could do that, or you can just vow to, I'll find her. So me being me, I was like, no, I can't just let it be. So I was like, no, I'm gonna find her, right? And that turned into an awful love story.
Yeah. It's the worst. Quick. Did you let him her, or did you not let him her, and you just
I let him.
You let him?
I let him
her?
I let him.
You let him? Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this afterwards, because I didn't, and I'm currently still engaged in him.
Yeah. It's very messed up, Quez.
We don't want to give spoilers, but this is a very interesting ending.
We're trying really hard to dance around what's actually happening.
I think we should save a lot more of this stuff for our breakdown.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do a roundtable spoiler cast for The Witcher in the weeks to come, because we need to put more hours into this game.
Yeah. It's
58
good too,
hours over here.
And one of the best examples too is I think is one the first real main quest you get in the game once it lets you out of the starting area and you get the big, huge, insanely huge frickin' world. Is the Bloody Baron quest, which everybody is raving about online, how good it is. I mean, I'm not going to go into details about it, but this guy is a murderer. He's a wife beater. He may or may not have caused his wife to have a miscarriage. Like, he is a horrible character. Yet,
but you love him.
As you go through him and learn more about him, you actually can kind of start to like him, and you realize not everything's his fault. Like, he's a fucking asshole, but he was surrounded by fucking assholes. His family wasn't perfect either.
Yeah.
And it's a very, it really shows you that not to just judge a book by its cover. Like, there's a lot more to a story. This isn't a normal game where, pretty much every other game, he would clearly be the bad guy.
The bad guy, yeah.
What he did was, there's no excuse for it. He's a monster. Whereas,
even his name makes you feel like he's
the Bloody Baron. I mean, come on. You're immediately looking at this guy like he's got it. I didn't want to go do that quest yet because I figured he was going to be some asshole. And I finally went and did it, and I'm like, I can't believe that, only CD Projekt Red can make me like a wife-beating, murdering, just monster of a man, and show that there is a good side to him.
Yeah.
This isn't. It's a lot more realistic to me. That it's not that people aren't 100% good or 100% bad. Like fiction is always so often doing. It's a much more gray world.
Yeah. If I tried to explain like what the tone was to a friend of mine, and I ended up just showing her the reveal trailer for The Witcher, just the Killing Monsters trailer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I feel like that captures the tone perfectly for the game, because it's like, okay, this lady's about to get hung because she broke some laws and whatever, and now the guys that are about to hang her are kind of mistreating her and stuff. And throughout all this, girl is like, he has this monologue and he's saying, if I have to choose between two evils, I'd rather not choose at all. And then, just do what he believes is right, basically. And it's to stop these dudes from doing awful things to this woman who is already a criminal, technically.
I think we've all raved about the game a lot. Before we, instead of spending too much time in this, what are your guys' complaints, if you have any, real quick?
There's a lot of jankiness on the PS4 version. There's points where I was trying to talk to this merchant, and every time I try to talk to him, it kind of, usually when you talk to a specific person, it kind of instances you. So when you talk to a merchant, you get stuck in this instance where you can start to go and buy stuff, and it's a interaction between you and that NPC. Now every time I try to talk to this merchant, I talk to him, so we'd instance out, but then I would see his a clone character model just walk away. So I was like, what is happening? So I was like, let me take a look at your wares. And usually when that happens, it cuts to another screen and you get to see what the merchant has. But instead, I said, hey, can I take a look at your wares? Then the option came back up. So I clicked it again and said, hey, can I take a look at your wares? And just reset it again. And just kept doing that until I just canceled out of it. See, and when I canceled out of it, the dude just disappeared. And like the clone was the actual guy.
See, related to that, it's kind of like a nitpicky thing, but I don't like that there's the different dialogue options when you talk to a merchant that's like, show me your wares, craft me an item, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because it's all
you
the same
click them, it goes straight into the window, yeah. But I would much rather just go to a fucking window that has buy items, craft, and just select between the two.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go into one of the windows, click back out, go over, click down to the thing that I wanted to do, and keep like going back and forth. Like I'd rather start off on that front menu.
Yeah. And then like
definitely.
And another thing was, I just got out of this dialogue thing with the dude. That I turn around and I see his son playing hopscotch, whatever, but he was floating 5 feet in the air.
Yeah, I've had a few of those. Yeah,
I was like,
I've had a few of
what
those.
is this?
The horse, he loves to just show up and float in the sky and whatnot. Skellig Isles has a lot of mountains in it, and almost every time I try and climb up a mountain with the horse, he instead of like here's the plane of the mountain and then he's like parallel with it, half the time he's just like inside the mountain going up this way. It looks so broken. And there's been lots of people who've had that bug too, where when they try and jump over a fence on the horse, the horse will just freeze in midair above the fence, and Geralt can just like go upside down and take out his swords, and the horse freaks out. There's a few little like janky animations in the game for sure.
Yeah.
Scaling
but they're funny as hell.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scaling mountains looks ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Definitely. Go ahead.
I think for me, it's there's a couple of things that are non-issues actually. I just wanted to bring up. Like, first of all, when it comes to a game like this, I can easily get bored real quick. I could go into the borderland syndrome, of like just traveling to, and then I realized that that's fixed because there's so many quick travel spots, so I don't have to run too much.
Yeah.
So all right. So I really appreciate how you can there's so many crossroad places that you can just go to and get everywhere as fast as you can. I really like that. They thought of me. They're like, what would Sergio want so he's not bored?
It's really nice about that in the Skellig Isles because it's islands. In the normal world, you have to go explore and find that point first. But in the Skellig Isles, so when you get to the Skellig Isles and you see this massive zone of all these different islands, you're going, oh shit, I gotta get on a boat and go to every one of these little islands. But they thought of that. And you can go to a merchant and you can buy maps and they automatically give you like one quick point on each island.
Oh, nice.
And it helped so much.
I wish I was better at the game also. Because I find my butt being delivered to me all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have another glitch thing. I have a quest that is bugged. It's the fake papers quest. You guys all are familiar with that. It's basically you talk to this very shady dude. He's like, "Hey, I could get you these fake papers if you just do a thing for my brother-in-law." It's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. But you have the option to mind trick him into just giving you a discount, whatever. So what I said was I agreed to help out his brother-in-law. So I went over to his brother-in-law, and then I had to kill 2 ghouls, and that gives a quest marker on the brother-in-law. But rather than starting that quest, I went back to the shady dude. I mind tricked him, and then got the discounted papers. Then I went back to his brother-in-law, did that mission, and the brother-in-law is just a loser and dies immediately. So he got killed, whatever, and I completed the quest as normal. But then, right when I completed that quest, it updated the fake papers quest that I already completed by mind tricking the dude. And so now, if I try talking to the shady dude, he's like, "Oh, leave me alone. You're scare rid of my other customers." So I cannot actually get rid of the fake papers quest in my quest log, and it's driving me insane.
Yeah. There's a few kind of little janky things with quests. The vast majority of the quests you can accept and then just take off. There's no but there's every once in a while there's one quest where if you don't do it right then, it auto fails, and they don't really give you any warning for that. So there's been at least 3 or 4 quests that I've started and then just decided, I'm gonna come back to this, and then it fails and there's nothing I can do. One of the major ones in Novigrad for the Gwent card game, which is fucking incredible. I love that game so much. The mini game for the game. One of the quests in Novigrad is a really big tournament to play a bunch of the people in the city and get some really good cards, which is an awesome quest. But nowhere does it tell you that if you leave Novigrad, it fails. So if you just decide to leave, now that quest is over and you're never going to be able to get all those awesome cards. So there's like a big warning on the Witcher subreddit, like, don't fucking touch the quest unless you intend to do everything right now, And there was a problem too with the first vendor in White Orchard where you start the game sells a couple of very unique Gwent cards, and if you don't pick them up, then when you leave White Orchard, you can't come back and buy them. So if you're trying to get the achievement to get all of the Gwent cards, you're screwed now. There's nothing you can do. So, for the most part, stuff's very well done. But there's, every game's got its little glitches and bugs here and there.
So I have a question about Gwent. Is that like a thing that actually helps you if you play it?
It's pretty much a side quest. You get money and items and stuff through it, but it's not like a major thing. I don't think there's any part in the story where like you have to play a game of it or something.
Good, because I don't care.
I suck at it.
I absolutely adore that game. I feel like if I started playing it's a lot like Hearthstone and stuff, and I feel like if I ever the amount of addiction I've gotten to Gwent, I think if I ever touched Hearthstone, I would just all my money would be gone because I would be just no. I like to play Gwent because it's in Witcher 3. I don't have to pay anything for it. I'm alright.
Okay, so clearly
we have a lot to talk about.
We can talk a lot about The Witcher, and so you guys just have to hang tight for our full Witcher roundtable discussion, which we'll do sometime later. Don't know yet. We still have to get further into the game
because everybody. I mean, that game was ridiculously big. I've got 50 plus hours in it, and I'm way ahead of these guys, and I'm still nowhere near close to done with the game.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. So hang in for that.
TLDR, we fucking love it. It's good. Bye.
Yeah, it's super good. Before we close, I believe we had a question about a Star Citizen leak, which this is the first I'm hearing about that. But the good news is I'm in contact with somebody from Cloud Imperium Games, and we're going to try to have them on the podcast sometime soon. So please look forward to that. So until then,
what happened is basically, 48 gigabytes of assets that aren't currently released to the game are out, and because it's got leaked online, and because it's a CryEngine game, you can just load it up in any other CryEngine editor. Now people are getting to see all these models and maps and things like that they did not want to come out yet.
So hopefully we can have a one-on-one discussion with with our contact, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this very late edition of PCP, the Pixel Clicks podcast,
and very short edition.
Very short too. Yeah, this is like a 30-40 minute thing. We kind of went longer than we thought we'd go.
Witcher.
So thank you guys so much for listening and watching, all that good stuff. Thank you to everyone who started following us on our Twitch channel. I think we got 3 new people.
Awesome.
So thank you guys. I believe it was let me pull up your names right now. We have Ultron Lives 147.
Amazing name.
Don Keebles and Best Country Boy. Thank you guys for following us on Twitch. Stick around and you'll see more of our stuff. Follow us on Twitter at PixelClicksPod. That is PixelClicksPod because we could not fit the cast. Find us on YouTube and Facebook and iTunes and of course Twitch.tv. Just search for PixelClicks Podcast and we will pop up. Send us your emails to pixelclickspodcast@gmail.com. Read our articles on pixelatedgeek.com and all of those other wonderful, wonderful things because you are wonderful people. Anyway, I'm Jordan. That's Shane, Cody, and Sergio. This has been PCP, the Pixel Clicks Podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Later.
Bye.